Hey, what's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Maskill, where we focus on helping guide you to have a business that produces consistent, positive cash flow. In doing so, you'll have a financially healthy business and be able to achieve your personal goals, which will allow you to sleep well at night. Today, we have with us Phil Risher. Phil has over 15 years of experience in the service industry, and he uncovered a gap between local service businesses and their use of digital marketing to help grow their businesses. Phil's efforts in technology and small business have featured him on Jobber's Masters of Home Service, Forbes, CNBC, Yahoo Finance, the Wall Street Journal, and many other news outlets. So that is Phil Risher. Welcome, Phil. Thanks for being here. What is going on today?
What's up, man? I'm so happy to be here. Thanks again for having me on. I've been blessed to get to know you over the years, and it's been good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I used to be a partner in an electrical company. Phil and his team at Flash Consulting was our marketing consultant, marketing strategist. They did a phenomenal job. So I'm excited to come full circle, or now he is a guest
Yeah.
on the show. So Phil, tell us how Flash Consulting came to be and how you got started.
Yeah. So as a business owner, we know there's digital marketing companies out there, and it's hard to bridge the gap between what is actually happening from a digital perspective and is it actually correlating into results for our business. So I used to be the director of business development at a $3 million air duct cleaning company. And my background was in digital marketing and sales. When I was working there, I'm trying to grow the company. So I'm looking at all the reports in their CRM, and I asked the digital marketing company, like, well, how do we know that these Google ads actually correlated into this revenue? Or what happens when this form comes through? Can we automate something to happen after this? And it was always like, no, it's not our process. Or, we got this many conversions for you, but there's nothing that connects the dots. So the whole thought process was, what if I create a company that bridges the gap between home service businesses, digital marketing, and helps them actually grow their business? And that was 5 years ago, and been off the races ever since.
You have been off to the races ever since. So let's dive into that. Let's focus on marketing, sales, all the good things to help people put more money in their pocket. We're working, we're grinding, we're paying for these leads. In my opinion, we got to get the most out of them, especially now that we are through the whole COVID rush. Every lead is more valuable to every single business out there. So marketing local service businesses. What are some of the things that, so you hit on why Flash came to be, like, what are
Yes.
some of the things that most business owners out there listening probably aren't doing today with all the leads they're getting from all the various channels that they come in?
Yeah, there's three pillars that we look at. There's visibility for your business. Are you being found on Google? Are people finding you? Are people referring you? Are you running ads? Are you sending postcards, right? Creating visibility for your business. Then there's the conversion side of it, which that's the second pillar. All these people know about you. They come to your website, they call your business. Are you actually converting the leads into appointments and sales and estimates? And that's the part a lot of times people miss. They don't have a lead problem. They have a lead management problem, which we'll dive into that in 1 second. And then the third pillar is retargeting. Retargeting is all the prospects and customers that have ever come through your database or your business, reaching back out to them and retargeting them to bring them back into the funnel. Most businesses can just spin with their conversions into sales, retarget, conversions to sales, retarget, and then add some fuel on the fire with new customers coming in. So specifically, you just asked about from a lead management perspective, this is the biggest issue that I saw. So I was the director of business development. The CSR, we had a team of 6 CSRs, customer service reps. A form would come through on Outlook. They'd print it out, it'd sit on their desk right here next to them. They would call it. They wouldn't answer. They put a check mark on it. And then tomorrow they'd call it and put another check mark on it. And they'd have like a very manual process. And, they probably wouldn't put a check mark, or they wouldn't put this, and it just get piled up. They have piles of these lead forms. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to follow up on your leads. So what are people not doing? First off, they don't have a system to follow up on leads. A lead comes in at 10 o'clock at night on Saturday. They need to get a text message. They need to get an email, something that acknowledges that you received this from them. And then you need to open up the conversation. So a lot of times nowadays, from a text message perspective, people are getting the emails, but they're not responding. They're getting calls, they're not responding. They're not going to answer your phone. When you text them, you get a 98% open rate. People are going to see the text that came from you, and they're going to say yes or no, or leave me alone. So one of the biggest takeaways that I always recommend to people is on all your web forms, even if you get calls and you call the people back and they don't answer, send them a text. It's going to allow you to get your leads into sales much faster.
Yeah, because I mean, it's 2024. I'm probably just like all 330 million people that live in this country. If we get a call from an unknown number, we're not answering it. Right. And then you leave a voicemail, we're not checking it right away. But with that text message, and I can attest to it, when you get that lead, we got to get to it quickly because they're probably calling other people, filling out other forms and saying, hey, who's going to get back to me the quickest? And if you don't respond to it, like you said, from Saturday till Monday, then you call them. They probably forgot that they even filled out a form on your website on Saturday. They don't even know who you are. So let's just kind of we'll walk down this path. So now we send them a text message. What are your beliefs on getting them on the phone to kind of pre-qualify them to book them on the schedule, whether it's asking certain questions, or are you more of like, hey, once they're engaging on text message, just book the call and we'll figure it out later? What's your belief in that?
Yeah, I would say it depends on your business. Like, if they need, if their HVAC unit is broken, like, hey, we got to get you on the schedule right now. Like, we'll get the details later. But typically when a text message goes out, you want the acknowledgement that says like, hey, we received your information. I really like when there's a qualifier or something that's a next step. And it could say something like, hey, if you have any additional pictures or information that you could send over, shoot them over so that way we can get a look at it. You can also, we have another client that he puts a video in there like, hey, here's a quick video from the owner. And it's like, hey, it's Phil from Flash. Just want to say thanks for choosing us for your service. Look forward to helping you all the way through. So you can set these up automatically, but walking them through some qualifiers, I think is really good. That can be automated. And then if it like someone could say back, like we have another client that they're in North Carolina, they only service like these 5 cities. So if you say that you're not in that city, then it automatically says, oh, unfortunately, we don't service that area. So I think there's something to be said about qualifying a customer through that process automatically. And then ideally, if you have online scheduling, you can just say, hey, feel free to schedule your appointment here. To answer your question, as far as what's my thoughts on this, and this is where we get a lot of pushback on texting. If people wanted to call you, they would call you. If people wanted to fill out a form, they would fill out a form. If people wanted to text you, they will text you. So like, don't try to jam people into what you want them to do. They're going to do what they want to do. They're going to schedule online if they want to schedule online. So if their preferred communication style is on texting, then just text them and just make it easy for them.
Love it. And that is, I would say 99% of the country now. Like I was trying to reach out to a company today and I didn't want to call them. I wanted to be able to email them or text them. I couldn't find it. So it's like, this is annoying because I don't want to waste the time on the phone. I rather just send it out and I know that they're going to get back to me. So you mentioned something where you can do things automatically like, hey, I'm in the Raleigh area. Hey, do you live in Raleigh, Cary, Apex, or Holly Springs? If not, you're not in our service area. I know you guys are using AI to kind of figure that out. How does that look? And like how much, say someone texts on a Saturday, at what point does a human have to get involved, or what kind of sequences do you have built out or recommend building out so that way you can use logic to do this, AI to do this instead of a human to do it?
Yeah. So we use a platform called High Level that we white label called Flashlight. And what it allows us to do is to build out custom automations for home services, integrate it into their ServiceTitan, Jobber, House Call Pro. So it's not like, we're not the coders here. We're more so the use case and putting things together for the trades. So what it looks like in that platform specifically is we can build intent models. So we can say, if they respond this, then do this. If they respond like this, or if they don't respond, then do this. So you can put if then statements, intent, different intent things. Other companies, like they want to gather a couple quick questions and then give them an estimate. For example, let's say someone does air duct cleaning. They would want to know, well, how many HVAC systems do you have? How many square feet do you have? And then if they say between this and this and this and this, then a good estimate is going to be this. So you can build a lot of this intent stuff using AI and automation to get answers built out. As far as when should a human take over, ideally, once you get a picture back or some qualifier in there, or once you get back into the office, so usually like 8 a.m. on Monday, you could have an automatic text that were to go out every Monday at 8 a.m. or the next morning at 8 a.m. that says, hey, this is Paul, from Flash Consulting. Just saw your message come through, wanted to learn more about what you got going on. That's what we do at Flash. Someone books a meeting, it goes 8 a.m. Monday. Hey, it's Phil, saw your meeting come through. Text us back. Did you get it on your calendar? So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of manipulate when does the actual human get involved to that.
Love it. And it makes sense to have that go out when that human is actually available. So then it's
Exactly.
they're getting auto instant response because Phil's in the office at 8 o'clock. It goes out, and at 8:01, Phil can start responding. So
Yep.
we had meant you kind of walked through the path: visibility, conversion, retargeting. Most companies, they don't need more leads, they need to get more out of their leads. They better lead management system. We kind of talked about that of, hey, we got to get back to these people quickly. Now let's go into retargeting, because to me, this is, so I was a user of Flash and Flashlight and all the things they do was phenomenal. One of the things that I think a lot of companies don't do, because I had worked with many other marketing companies over the last 7 to 10 years, is retargeting and getting more out of the leads you've already paid to get and the customers that already know, like, and trust you. Retargeting. Here's an example of what happened in real life. It was either January, February of this year, 2024. Things had slowed down a lot, post-holiday, whatever you want to call it. Things were slowed down. I reached out to Flash, like, hey guys, our phones aren't ringing like they used to. What do you got? They came up with this campaign. Let's re-engage all of your customers that love you, that haven't used you in the last 6 months. And holy cow, our schedule filled up within a couple of days. So let's dive into that. What are some of the ways we can retarget other than what I mentioned? And why do most people not do it?
So yes, retargeting is one of the most important things that you can do. There's a company that we work with. They went from $3 million to $8 million, all just retargeting their customers. So a very simple way to do this is they were HVAC and they brought in plumbing and electrical. And so just by simply even having an email newsletter that goes out every single month and invites the customer to come back and be a customer into something else is a home run. They already know, like, and trust you. So staying top of mind is what it's all about. And then if you can cross-sell something. So like in email newsletters, we say, share a recent blog post, share a recent before and after picture, recent review, and then cross-sell a different service that's regarding the time that's going on right now. As far as like text messaging goes and retargeting in text message, that one example that you gave, haven't done work with us in 6 months, invite them to be a customer again, it gets 98% open rate. With those, you want to be very selective about those out. You don't want to obviously bombard someone every single month with a new offer. So we typically say like once or twice a year, have something like that goes out. But you also want to give them a really tight offer. Like we would say, hey, we have a voucher for $25 off your electrical service. Do you want me to stick one aside for you? Simple yes or no. Not getting into the weeds of your project and all this, just inviting them to be a customer again and offering them a $25 voucher, yes or no. So those work really good. What you don't want to do is go and write a whole paragraph about why they need to get, a heavy up right now and all that. They don't care. They just want to be invited to be back into your system.
Yeah. And what's funny is I'll be the first one. I was doubtful that this would work, because it's like when you're in say a demand trade, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, it's like they'll call us when they need something. Like they'll call us when the outlet stops working, or they'll call us when their toilet's leaking, or they'll call us when they want a new thermostat, or whatever it might be. But it was amazing how many people are like, oh yeah, I've been wanting to put new lights in the backyard for so long, or oh man, I've had these 2 ceiling fans sitting in my closet waiting to be installed. Thank you so much for the reminder. It was like mind blowing, because I thought people would be like, when it stopped, or they'd be like, that outlet hasn't worked in 3 months. It's like, well, why haven't you called us? So it's just good to stay top of mind with them and retarget them. And like you said, invite them back in to be a customer. So with that being said, you work with a lot of different size companies. You talk to a lot of different size companies. You've been on the Jobber podcast. You work with people in Jobber. You work with people in Service Titan. You work with people doing $700,000-$800,000 a year, all the way up to $5, $7, $8 million a year, like you just referenced. What sets those high 7-figure businesses apart from the companies saying doing just under $1 million that you've seen?
Yeah, the first thing is that they have a marketing budget. So we just had a meeting with a prospect and he somehow got to $2 million and he didn't even have a marketing budget. He was just spending and referrals, and he did bigger stuff like kitchen remodels and that kind of stuff. But anything that you tell him over $0 is going to be a lot of money. So ideally what we say is you should have 3 to 10% of your revenue in a marketing budget is what we've seen. So one thing that sets people apart is having an established marketing budget. So that way it doesn't feel like when you first spending money on something, it can feel like you're just taking money right out of your pocket, your own pocket, which it kind of is. But you have to have these pieces in place to actually scale a business. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but that part of it is crucial. Have a marketing budget. As far as from doing a marketing perspective, those companies that are getting to 5 million, 10 million, they have a very good sales process for cross-selling services. But then also they're not going to a house and leaving a house without giving an estimate. For example, like electrical contracting, you send a technician out to do a ceiling fan. Well, if they have a generator, you better go over and look at the generator and take pictures. And if it's a 10-year-old generator, give them an estimate and have someone in the office rehash that service and that estimate. So they're optimizing every single service call to also open up an opportunity for sales. And that's what this company from 3 to 8 million did. They had a CSR in the office. Her only job was to call all the estimates. Then the techs would go in for just a random call, and then they would go in and do like, okay, you need a hot water heater, you need this, you need this. Then they would be selling them. So those would be two things that I think are like, if you do those two things, there's no way that you can't grow your company.
That is a fact. I mean, we're all about growing a company financially healthy, making cash flow. Anybody listening to this, you can do one or many of these things and grow your business without spending any extra money. The cool thing is when you start doing all these things, your marketing percentage actually goes down because back to the beginning of this conversation, we're getting more out of every lead by doing all the things that Phil's talking about. So taking that into, say, the business journey, we've gone through the customer journey, visibility, conversion, retargeting. We've gone from 6 figures to 7 figures. In the last 4 years, private equity has become huge in the home service space, buying anything and everything they can, paying pretty good multiples for it, but they're not going to buy a company that doesn't have a proven client acquisition strategy, a proven content strategy. They want all the things because they don't want to do all the things, especially if you want to become a platform company for them. A lot of the things Phil's talking about will help get companies to that point. You've been in this space for 5 years. You've seen kind of the evolution. What have you seen kind of in the private equity space? What are they looking for from a marketing and sales standpoint in order to acquire a company?
Yeah, so we've been on both sides of this. We've helped companies scale and sell to private equity, and we work with 2 private equity companies that buy companies, plug us in, and help them grow their business. So we know exactly what they're looking for. When it comes to a sales process, like you're selling your company to private equity, what they want to know is a predictable customer acquisition strategy and a retargeting strategy. They want to know that when you buy the company, it's not just you in a networking group that's getting leads coming in, but there's actually a system without you that's closing deals and bringing them through a pipeline. So some of the ways that you can do that is to make sure that you have like your Google business profile, you have a solid Google business profile. If you're running Google ads, you have a company or someone that's running Google ads so that at least you can say like, hey, I have all these channels that leads are coming in. So like just having that documented or a process is good. As far as what are they looking for, like on the other side with the PE firms that we work with, it's data. Good data makes good decisions. So really like they want to know, well, how many leads do we get? Where were the leads from? How many did we close? What was the return on ad spend? What was the return on investment? They want to pull everything all the way through and have clear data. So if you are running a home service business and you don't have good data, that would be something that you should definitely focus on is getting clean data. And if you've been through the process, the due diligence process, they're going to like grill you on everything. So if you have tight data, whether it's in QuickBooks, ServiceTitan, and whatever, it's going to be much easier for you to go through that process. And to be honest, you're probably going to get more for your business if your numbers are tight and your data's tight, because it's not going to leave things up to question and they're going to be trying to pinpoint all these things and then knock down your valuation.
Love it. So that's huge. I'm a huge numbers guy, finance guy, QuickBooks, KPIs, ServiceTitan dashboard, all the things, super important. And not just for private equity, it should be for you as the owner. Like you should be able to know exactly what your customer acquisition cost is. You should know what your call booking rate is. You should know, all the things, how much are we making every house we go to? What's our revenue per opportunity? What's our closing rate? All those things. So then you can make an educated decision to get to where you want to go. And if you want to sell the PE, or you just want to sell, or you just want your business to run without you, we need to do all of those things. So let's kind of take it back to the top and kind of start putting a bow on this thing. Client acquisition. Obviously, we have kind of come to the conclusion that that's not the most important thing, but obviously that's what starts the process. Once we do that, we got to convert them, we got to manage them, we got to retarget them. What are Give us a couple things that you see most home service businesses not doing as well as they could when it comes to just lead generation.
Yeah. So on the visibility side, I would say the lowest hanging fruit opportunity for most businesses is in business to business relationships and referral partners. The reason that I bring that one up is because most people are so focused on the hand to hand combat. You know, I get a lead, I sell the lead. I get a lead, I try to book the lead. When if you focus on a B2B relationship, like electrical contractor, let's say there's a plumbing contractor, they get asked all the time, do you know anyone that does electrical work in the bathroom or whatever? It's a very easy way to do another service without actually doing the service. And if you can pay them for leads or pay them, you know, a certain amount, then it's a great way to just sell one time and get 100 leads coming in or whatever that number is. So the duct cleaning company that I mentioned before, literally that's how he built his business. He would go to HVAC contractors and say, everyone asks you about duct cleaning. You don't do duct cleaning, nor do you want to do duct cleaning. So why don't you just refer it to me? And every job that I do, I'll give you $100 or whatever it was. Then it's just about how many HVAC contractors can he get on his platform to refer him. So that's a really big one for most companies, that it's a game changer because you only have to sell it one time and then nurture the relationship and you'll get a ton of leads. The other thing is, I typically recommend go to Google, type in your service with your target service area and see where you're at. There's 4 core areas. There's Google local service ads, which is the Google screen, the little checkbox. Google search ads, which is the sponsored pay for the keywords. Then the Google map pack, which is the little map section with your reviews. And then your website. It's 4 areas on Google. If you're not in all 4 of those, it's like a monopoly board. How can you get in those things? And there's different strategies for all of them, but that's kind of how you can benchmark your company and look at, okay, I'm not in any of them. Well, no wonder I'm not getting any leads because I'm not even on Google. Google is the #1 referral partner in the world. And there's a study that said 89% of people go to Google. Even if they know your name, they're going to just read reviews and look you up before even contacting your business.
Love it. And that referral partner thing is huge because, like you said, most businesses don't focus on it. They focus on, let's go direct to consumer. Let's just go get that customer. When, unless you're doing plumbing, HVAC, and electrical, just using, say, the 3 main trades, create those relationships with the plumbing company since you don't offer plumbing, or with the electrical company since you don't offer electrical, or whatever it might be. And then even if you're in landscaping, if someone, you know, if you don't do tree removal and tree management, find somebody that does it. If you don't do grading, find somebody that doesn't. If you don't do landscape lighting, find somebody that does it, and start to build those relationships. To Phil's point, you only got to sell them once, and then it's just, they just start coming in. You manage a relationship. Maybe you take them out to lunch once a month and check in. How can I help you? That type of stuff, like genuinely care and be curious about them. But I promise you, probably 99% of the people listening to this, if they are in the B2C world and not doing B2B type work, they're totally missing that. So last question on that, because it brought up a thought in my head is, and you had mentioned it with a company that went from 3 million to 8 million, is growth through acquisitions by buying complementary type businesses. And we just named off a bunch of them. Where do you see the biggest upside opportunity when the HVAC company buys the electrical company, or electrical company decides to start a plumbing company? Where's like the biggest opportunities, biggest things to look out for when growing through acquisition in a different yet complementary service?
Yeah, it's funny. I was literally just before this, I was on a call with an HVAC guy who's trying to get plumbing. And basically he's like, I hired this plumber and, you know, he gave me the rigmarole for a month and then he left me, and it's like chasing another plumber to try to fill in his company. And I saw this successfully happen at that 3 to 8 million. Basically, there was a guy who was fantastic electrical contractor, just solo guy. And he had been trying to run his business, but he was a very big technician, like in the company. And so like he was a technician doing his own thing. He wasn't actually running a business. So there was this B2B relationship that they had. So the owner of the HVAC said, hey man, this is working fine, but like, do you really want to go for this? Like, I'm going to scale this business to 8 million and sell to private equity, and we're all going to get a payout. Like, are you about that? Or do you want to just continue running your jobs? And he's like, no, I'm trying to build a business. So he's like, come over here. I'll give you equity in the electrical space. When we sell the company, you'll get a percentage of the sale. Like, we'll all be building this together, and I have tons of unlimited leads for you. Like, how's that guy going to say no if he's in the right mindset? And so he came over. I think he was getting like 20% or 30% of the jobs. He also had upside to scale the business and grow, sell the company, and it all worked out great. So I'm not saying that's going to work out every single time. You got to find the right partner for how that's going to work. But I think there's tons of upside to build these things on without having to like go and find a plumber and then train them and do all that. It's a mess. So you can either go the referral partner route, like I mentioned, or bolt on those things, but give them upside in the business.
Perfect. And if you do what Phil's saying to do, and you've built that customer list, you're engaging in them with newsletters, text messages, all different types of campaigns to keep you top of mind in their brain. When you do bolt on those services, it's a great opportunity to like instant revenue injection. Hey, great news, guys. We just added plumbing, or we just added landscape lighting, or whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, I already got my return on that investment, whatever it is that you paid for that business. So wrapping all this up, we've talked about a ton of stuff: visibility, conversion, retargeting, acquisition, data, KPIs, sales process, all the things. Most podcasts, when they wrap up, they ask for a book, but we want someone to take immediate action. Reading a book takes time, and a lot of people don't ever finish reading a book. So give our listeners one thing that they could do within the next 24 hours to start moving their business forward, to start generating a little bit more cash flow.
Yeah. Since we're talking about the B2B relationships, I would say think of a complementary business, reach out to that business owner to business owner, and just say, hey, I'm thinking about coming up with some partnership program where I can pass you leads and you pass me leads. Can we grab coffee and talk about what that might look like? As business owners, we know that people are open to growing their business and getting more leads. And like, if you talk to the right business owner, it's going to open up that conversation. So I would say, and if you don't know where to start, go to a BNI networking group and go there. All those people will say, yes, I'll take a meeting with you. And set up a one-to-one, meet with them, say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And you'll start the snowball rolling from there. That would be a good action item, I would say.
There you have it, guys. Start building those relationships. Phil Risher, thanks again for coming on the show, sharing your journey and providing actionable advice for all the blue-collar business owners out there as we continue our journey to prosperity, which is only possible with consistent positive cash flow. I am 100% confident that everything we talked about will help you get one step closer to achieving your goals as long as you take action. Phil, before we sign off, if our listeners don't want to do all this themselves, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you, learn more about you and Flash Consulting?
Yeah, we do free marketing audits, and we sit down for 30 minutes. We go through your call to actions, your business, what you got going on. We give you kind of like a roadmap if we were to work together. If not, you basically have a blueprint for what we would recommend. You can go to flashconsulting.com. It's PHLASH consulting.com. Click discuss your business, and you can set up a call there.
There you have it, guys. Go there. Flash is with a PH. PHLASH is how you spell Flash. Flash Consulting. Phil, thanks again so much for your time today to help our listeners on their journey. Appreciate you, sir.
Likewise, Paul. It's been a pleasure, man.
And before you head out, if you are ready to have a business that produces consistent positive cash flow so that you can have a financially healthy business and achieve your personal goals, let's make it happen. Head on over to thebluecollaradvisors.com/call to book a free financial assessment of your business. I will dive into the financials of your business, take a look at what's going on, find any red flags as well as opportunities that you have in your business. Let's make it happen. Again, thebluecollaradvisors.com/call. Until next time, remember, what got you here won't get you there. If you're ready for different results, it's time to start doing things differently.